Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to try and unpack one of the most fascinating and honestly one of the most misunderstood national identities out there. We're going to move past the simple stereotypes to really get into the complex, layered, and always changing character of Singaporeans.
Okay, so let's dive right in. The best place to start is with this central puzzle, this big contradiction that really sits at the heart of the Singaporean identity. It's something that shapes so much of daily life and the national spirit.
And this is the core question, right here. On the surface, these two things just don't seem like they should go together. How can a culture be so famous for this relentless, almost obsessive drive to win, but also be known for being so orderly and peaceful? If you want to understand Singapore, you have to solve this paradox.
So here are the two big forces we're talking about. On one side, you have kiasu. It's a Hokkien term that basically means a fear of losing out. It's this powerful, all-in drive to be the best. But then, on the complete other side, you've got this deep cultural need for harmony, for avoiding direct conflict. So how do these two possibly coexist?
Well, the answer is hidden in the unwritten social code, the rules that guide everything from a business deal to a family dinner. To crack the paradox, we've got to learn the rules of the game. The first and maybe the most crucial piece of this code is the concept of face, or mianzi. And this is way more than just personal pride. It's about your social dignity, the respect you carry within your community. It's a precious thing that you can gain, but more importantly, it can be lost. And causing someone else to lose face? That's a major social foul.
And this is what face looks like in the real world. To keep things running smoothly and make sure no one is embarrassed, communication becomes really indirect. You just don't hear a hard no very often. Instead, you get phrases that soften the blow, all designed to protect everyone's dignity. So this focus on face and harmony, it totally explains one half of our paradox. It's what leads to that polite, orderly, non-confrontational society that Singapore is so well known for. But that still doesn't explain the fierce, competitive kiasu side. So where does that come from?
The other half of the answer actually lies in one of Singapore's founding national values. This idea, this principle that puts the collective good ahead of what any one individual wants, it creates a very specific, very unique framework for how the whole society is meant to work.
So here's the genius of how Singapore solves the puzzle. That kiasu spirit isn't crushed or ignored. No, it's harnessed. The nation basically creates a stable arena with clear rules, and within that arena, that intense individual drive is encouraged because it's seen as an engine for national progress. It's a system that channels personal ambition for the collective good. That way, you get the economic growth without sacrificing the social harmony. The two opposing forces actually work together. But just when we think we've got the formula figured out, the ground starts to shift. There's a huge cultural change happening, and it's being driven by a new generation that has a totally different perspective on life.
And wow, you can really see the massive divide right here. For decades, the Singaporean dream was all about the 5 C's, a very clear, very material definition of what it means to be successful. But Gen Z, they're looking at that list and saying, no thanks. They're chasing things like job joy, mental well-being, and just having enough time for their friends and family.
Now, this isn't just some vague philosophical shift. It's deeply practical. For a lot of young Singaporeans, the 5 C's just feel totally out of reach. The cost of living is skyrocketing, but salaries aren't. They've watched older generations struggle with the debt and stress that came with chasing that dream, and they're making a conscious decision to choose a different path, one that puts well-being ahead of wealth. And they're definitely not being quiet about it. Social media, especially TikTok, has become this powerful megaphone for an entire generation. They're using it to publicly question the old ways, to talk about financial realities, and to build a whole new definition of what a good life in Singapore looks like. So what all this really shows is that the Singaporean character isn't some fixed thing you can just define and put in a museum. It's a living, breathing identity that's constantly moving, constantly evolving, and it's just full of these fascinating details. You know, one of the most telling things is this gap between how Singaporeans see themselves and how others see them. They are by far their own toughest critics, using words like stressed or materialistic to describe themselves. But when you ask outsiders, you hear words like friendly, polite, and hardworking. It points to a culture that's deeply self-aware and always pushing itself to be better. And maybe nothing, I mean nothing, captures this unique blended identity quite like Singlish. It's this incredible cocktail of English, Malay, Hokkien, and Tamil, and it's so much more than just slang. It's a powerful badge of honor, a symbol that you belong.
And this is where the pure genius of Singlish comes out. The particles. A tiny word like la or leh, tacked onto the end of a sentence, can completely change the tone and the meaning. It can add all these complex layers of emotion and context. It's the sign of a culture that truly gets subtlety and shared understanding. It's almost like a linguistic secret handshake.
So when you pull back and look at the whole picture, you see that the Singaporean character is this incredible tapestry. It's self-critical, which keeps it from getting complacent. It's adaptable, able to balance tradition with huge generational shifts. It's pragmatic, turning individual ambition into collective strength. And it's resilient, soaking up new influences while holding on tight to its core values.
And all of this leaves us with one last really exciting question. We've seen how this identity was built and how it works today. But with a new generation actively rewriting the rules of success, the most interesting chapter in this story is the one that's just starting. So how will this unique character evolve next?